G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report, 16 to 26 and sunny. No rain. There's a little bit of cloud outside, but it's fairly sparse. There's more blue sky than cloud by a long shot. And 26 isn't too bad. Like it's for this time of year, it's a little bit cooler than normal. Yeah, normally we're starting to sneak up there a bit by now, so it's not too bad. I got a heap, last week I got a heap more of, busy week again. They all seem to be busy, but anyway, I'll have to start saying no, I think. And I think I'm up to about 70 of those crosses for John. So hopefully I can get them to him before Christmas, see how we go. That come out all right. I've done a board. We're going to a birthday party for a fella, and I've done a board on the router for him. I've cut out the shape of the board, and I've got made in Bundy Bear's Shed. And I'm not going to show that until after it's given as a present, just to keep it under wraps a little bit, keep it a bit of a surprise. Yeah, and so apart from that, I haven't been up on the router this week at all, but we're all back at work, bloody buggering around, and we have a 3 horsepower non-Pirelli engine came in last Monday, Arvo, and that's one of the club ones. Once I've finished playing with the 3 horse international famous engine, well, I've got the 3 horse international, made sold by Osborne in America, 3 horse. So we'll see how we go with that. I took a bit of time out last week to work on this little Kubota and the little L4150, and the owner, Martin, he gave us the go-ahead. He said, look, we may as well just fix it and go ahead with it. Look, it will be a handy little tractor, and it's expensive with the front end loader. It's expensive to replace, so it's worth spending a few bob on it. So yeah, last week I went and got the parts. They come in from Kubota, and I pulled all the Welsh plugs out, and I washed and blew and flushed out the block as best I could. Still not 100%, but it's as good as we can get. And I've got all the new housings on, thermostat housing. The radiator we took out the back and flushed it, and I spent ages on that. And I reckon we lost 5 kilos in weight, all the junk that was in it. And I got the front axle steering pivot, I got all that out. And I put a new top and bottom bush and a new pin, and there's still a 15th of movement there, but very little. And a lot of the trouble was where the pin goes and you have a bell crank. One arm comes out the side to go to the steering box, and then you have 2 going out the front, 2 tie rods out the front. And that was loose on the pin and slopping around, but it actually worn the pin, and it did wear the casting a little bit, and there's a tiny little bit of movement there. But look, it's as good as we can get without spending big heaps of money on it. On the Kubota, the tie rods that go out to the wheels, they're in front of the axle, and one of them was quite bent. So I pulled that off, and we've straightened all that out in the press, and we've flushed all the little tie rods out, and we've put grease in there, and put new boots on to keep the water away, and keep the water and dirt and all that out. New pre-cleaner sitting there, I can see, and water pumps on, all that. And then I thought, right, I got this, I got coolant in it, and bugger me dead, one of the little hoses coming around the side, and I felt the hoses, and I thought, look, they feel good, I'll replace the ones I needed to, and the ones I didn't, I wouldn't, but one of them's got a little pinhole in it, hadn't it? So the coolant's got to come out again, and I've got to order this little bypass hose, and but I started the tractor up and give it a quick run. I thought, right, I'll just start him up, and they're 5-cylinder Kubota engine, and they are a lovely running engine. They're a very smooth engine, and I started with no air cleaner or anything like that on it, and it started to die, and I thought, oh, what's going on here? And from sitting all these years in the shed, it had run out of diesel. So not to worry, I pulled where the tap is near the dash there. There's a little nut, and it has a plastic filter bowl with a paper element filter in there. So I thought, right, I wasn't sure which way the tap worked, so I undid the nut there, pulled the filter bowl off, to check the tap in 3 places, you know, just to make sure the tap was working, no fuel coming out at all. But when I pulled the filter out, there was no bottom on the fuel filter. I thought, oh, I'll be buggered. And anyway, this morning I thought, I had a spare filter. I went to work and got a spare filter. And I thought, right, I'll put that filter in. So I got the filter bowl over on the parts washer here, washing it out and giving it all a nice big clean up. And here's the bottom of it jammed down in the bottom, the rusty bottom on this filter down in there. And I've been trying with pliers and that to pull it out, but the glass bowl on the filter where it goes in is that brittle, it's just cracked out the side just trying to pull it out. So off to Kubota again. Format Machinery are the Kubota dealers in town here, and look, they're good people. And so now I have to order this extra little bypass hose sort of thing, and order a new filter bowl for the fuel. So I was hoping to start it up, run it outside, clean the bay, because the bay is filthy dirty from blowing out radiators and water pumps and the cooling system, and it was just a cloud of dust in the shed. And so I was hoping to start the tractor, run it outside, clean up the bay, bring it back in and continue on with the transmission service and PDO seal and things like that. But not to be. No, so it's got to stay there another day. I do have a big mess up there, and I let the mess grow. I thought, well, that's all right, I'll run it out shortly and clean it up. So I've let the mess grow, and grow it did. So quite a bit of my time's been on that little Kubota this week. I started filming a little bit of it, and I thought, look, if I just film everything, I'm just never going to get it done. And I want to get back on the Massey and things like that. I'm just overloaded with little jobs at the moment. So, yeah, I need to get some of those out. So, anyway, we'll see. I've got a Farmall H Carby here that a fella gave me at Kangaroo. I can't find your messages. I've gone right back through my messages on Bundy Bear's shed and Lance, you know, on mine, and I can't find our message where I can contact you to say it's done. So if you're watching the stew, rattle my chain, because it's ready, waiting to go. But yeah, it was just a thing we had a yarn on messages, and it's just gone off me messages for some reason. So, but anyway, Facebook's been rattling my chain, and all my feeds are getting pushed to the bottom, they reckon, because I quoted the lyrics of the Auntie Jack song. You know, I used to say, "Farewell, Auntie Jack." You know, I can't even think, I've gone blank now. But anyway, it tells you to watch the show, and if you don't, I'm going to jump through the screens and rip your bloody arms off. And I was having a joke with a mate with it, and Facebook flagged it as threatening behaviour and put me in jail for a while on Facebook. And now, because I contested it, they said, well, it was threatening. God, a mob of dickwits. And it was threatening, and they'll leave my account open, but any messages or anything in groups and all that's going to be pushed to the bottom and not be seen for 30 days. So I have no idea, mob of dicks. But anyway, we needed old Elon Musk to bloody take over Facebook. It seems like he's ruffling a few feathers with Twitter. I've never been on Twitter. I don't know. A bit of YouTube and a bit of Facebook, and we do have an Instagram account that I keep forgetting I got. And yeah, that's plenty for social media for me. I'm just an old fart tractor bloke. So Jude and myself, well, the business is out for sale properly. I put a lot of links out there on Facebook last week. It's out on the domain sites and things like that. I got them to change things a bit. The real estate agents, I don't know, they sit there, yeah, but they don't get the full story of the business sort of thing. So who knows? So the business is out there for sale. It's been a great business. It's and I don't know, if it doesn't sell, I'm not all that disappointed. We'll just see. It makes really good money, and I enjoy it, but it's just, yeah, time comes time. So yeah, do you keep it and peg out or what? So so we've been trying to keep the loose ends tidied up and buggering around in there. And then a young fellow that works for me, Mitch, we had a bit of a yarn at work about selling the business, and keeping all the staff on, because we've got great staff, and the staff is the backbone of the business. And I was explaining how entitlements work, you know, as in holidays, sickies and all that. And on the day of the sale, say they add it up and I owe $20,000 in unused sick pay, holiday leave, long service and all that. Well, on the settlement day, that $20,000 comes off what I get. The new owner gets $20,000 and he signs over saying that he'll keep everyone's long service going and all that, because he's been paid for it. You know, it costs him nothing, and yeah, so we pay for all that. So, and anyway, Mitchett's been helping me with the website and all that. He pulled the pin. He says, "Oh, business selling." He says, "I've got no job security here." I says, "Well, what makes you think that?" I said, "We got people been here 10 years," and he says, "Oh, but if the new owners don't think I'm doing my job right, or I don't get on with them, yeah, I might be out of work." And I said, "Well, there's no problem really." I said, "You know, everyone's got their job, and if you're doing your job properly, well, it doesn't matter." And he says, "Oh no," so he trots in and pulls the pin last Tuesday. Yeah, pulls the pin. He's got a job somewhere else because, he's just not sure with people selling businesses. And I said, "That's all right, mate. You go." So next Friday's his last day. He's finishing up, so I'm just making sure all those little loose ends are tidied up. And we're probably not going to replace him for the moment. We're just going to see how the sales go and all that sort of thing. And he took a lot of load off myself with the website and all that sort of stuff. But I'll just kick in and take that back on again. And to tell you the truth, I've been having a bit of an easy running at work. I go in there and the other day I went in there at 6 and I come home at 10. I thought, bugger this, I've got work to do. So I come home and I worked on the Kubota for the whole rest of the day up till dark. And so, yeah, I've had it a bit easy in there because a lot of stuff's done for me, but I'll have to lock in and do that again, which that's no big deal. It makes the figures look better. So one less person and the money still comes in, so it's a good thing. Let's hope. Well, we sort of hope it sells, but if it doesn't, we're not that concerned either. We sort of enjoy the lurks and the money we make. We make really good money. So, just behind me here, there's a new tow bar for the Land Cruiser. Now, you're probably not supposed to do this, but when we have the boat, Judy and I are planning a couple of trips next year, and we're taking the boat. So we're going to take the Land Cruiser with the canopy on the back and the boat. And the idea is that if we find a little spot in a paddock at the back of a dam, we're allowed to camp and we can have the boat. We just use the cruiser. We've got toilet, shower, everything there. We'll use the Land Cruiser as our accommodation. We'll put the boat just off and we'll go fishing through the day and buggering around. And that's what we bought the boat for years ago. And it doesn't get used half enough. And but with the camping canopy on the back and the big wheels that I carry 2 big spares on the back and they're 33-inch high rims. And the boat gets really close to them. Like when you're turning, it gets close, but if you're going down through a gully, well, the boat comes forward and it does get close to that back end there, like within 100, 120 millimetres. And it's been touch and go a bit. So what I'd done in the past, I actually moved the whole boat back 120 mil on the trailer, adjusted all the pads and rollers again, adjusted it back 120 mil, and the post with the electric winch on it, I brought that back as well because it's on U-bolts. I'll show you this in the video at the end. And but it doesn't tow like it should, like there's not enough weight there. So I can get the front there and just pick it up. A little bit of effort, but there's probably 50 kilos load, so that's not safe. I can take the wheels further back on the chassis. It's a Bundy Bear trailer, and I can put the wheels a bit further back to put weight up the front, but I just wasn't feeling good. So, I've got rid of. I bought an electric winch for it, and I've done 2 runs with this other cheap shit electric winch for $120, and it's on the floor ready to go in the bin. What a heap of shit. Yeah, it's got a little nut on the side. You had to tighten up to lock the clutch in, and that wore the plastic, and it's just a shit heap. And so I've just bought a ATV winch, and now it's an electric winch that you would have on the front of a side-by-side farm get around. It's rated at 2,500 pounds, I think, and might be 3,500 pounds. And it's got little remote controls, where the other one you had to plug it in, and so you're trying to line the boat up and keep the lead out where it should be, and it was just a nuisance. So this new little winch, it's got two separate remotes, so you can hook a remote onto your pocket here on the button and just be out there waist deep looking after things, and press the button and, you know, line it all up and get it lined up one person. So I've remounted a new winch on there this weekend, and I've brought the post further forward, and where we're going with the boat, we're actually taking it up on Cape York, and then we're going to take it down and we're going to go fishing in the Gulf in some of those crocodile infested bloody creeks, but I'd love it. And so there's some pretty rough going, and the trailer is 2,200 kilos. You know, the whole complete trailer mass is 2,200 kilos, so we're well under with our towing with the ute, but it's got little 13-inch wheels on it, and I'm going to go to the trailer place today, and we're going to look at, it's got a little 40mm axle in it as well, and I took the 750 kilogram springs out, and I've put 1,150 or 1,200 kilogram springs in it, but I'm just looking, and I reckon because it's got the little Holden stubs with only the 3/4 at the end, I reckon the right hand wheel's on a bit of a lean, so I've got to measure all that up. But I think what we'll do is we'll just we'll go from 40 to 50mm axle, and we'll go to the Ford ones, which are 7/8 on the smaller bearings, or I might even try and go parallel. And I am wondering about doing Land Cruiser rims on it, you know, but the trouble with doing Land Cruiser rims is the boat gets that high. I know it's a better rolling radius for the dirt roads and that, but it gets that high, you've got to sink it so far, sink the trailer so far to get the boat off. So perhaps we'll go with the 13, 14-inch rims, and like, you think about it and you think, oh, bloody, you know, little pissy little wheels, but if you think about it, all cars had 13-inch rims and 14-inch rims on them one time, and they travelled across the Nullarbor, and they went everywhere. So we get a bit precious about all that now. So, but I think we'll just put a spares in, and we're putting the new battery box up in the front, and I'm off to Yamaha today, and we're going to put a new water pump impeller in the engine. I had that out a couple of years ago. It was fine, it works fine, but we're not going to get up there remote and have a water pump impeller shit itself. It's just not happening. So by bringing the boat forward again, I didn't want to extend the trailer hitch really, which I may do yet. There is a kit you can buy, and you can put like a long extension. So it's about 4 foot, so your boat can get back further into the water without your car going in. But we got winches everywhere, so we could roll him back. And I was having trouble. I've got the Heyman Reese X bar on the back of the cruiser, and apart from buying a big long droopy thing, I can't actually get an extension or get a longer drawbar tongue. And I've looked around everywhere, and look, I can buy Chinese ones, and I thought, oh, no. So what I've done here is I've extended this. It's probably not supposed to do it, but I went and bought a brand new tongue, and the tongue was about so long, and it's rated at 3.5 tonne, 350 kilos downforce, so it's well above spec. And when you have a 2 tonne tow ball here, this piece of steel is straight up and down, and you get a weld around there. When you go to 3.5 tonne, it comes back onto 45, so that's what I wanted. So I bought one from Road Tech Marine, and the wall thickness in the ones that you buy, look, they're only about 2.5mm really. They're not very substantial for what they do, but surely they must have been tested. So what I've done here, I've got a bit of 4mm box, 2-inch box, and I've extended it out another 150mm. So that's where I'll get the clearance to stop the boat hitting the back of the ute. And it's still got all the stamps and tags, maximum, for 3,500 kilos and all that. But instead of having the light 2.5 to 3mm wall, I'm 4mm wall now. I've drilled the hole in here, and there's some nice hot welds. The standard one, when I bought it the other day, they have this little bead of weld running around there, and it's about half as thick as a pencil. And so this one, I V'd it out, and I blasted nice big hot weld in, and then I've done the 2 welds. So you got your main weld, then you do one on this side, and then you bring the other one in over the top. So it's got 3 welds all around, strong as houses. It's not going to break in a fit. So I've just sandblasted all that and painted it, and I've got Valvoline Tectile 506 poured down in the guts there, so if any salt water gets in it won't rust. So that's just there having a bit of a dry off. That was yesterday's exercise, so that, with the canopy on, that should move the boat back about 6 inches. We're way under our spec, so I'm happy with that. You can buy them a little bit long, but just not what we wanted. And some of the stuff, like, you can buy the ones and they say they're 3.5 tonne, and they just got a flat plate welded on, and you've got a couple of holes, and you can, 2 5/8 bolts. And I don't know. I think we've gone the stronger way by a mile. So that's a good thing. The Farmall regular engine that we've been doing, we've been chasing around for parts and conrods and things, and John, the owner, he got these fellas up. That fella? No, that's the original one. He got these blokes up, and we measured them all up, and these are just too big. But these were out of a 1924 regular, and ours is a 29, and they're actually smaller. The main journal size here on the 24 must have been bigger than the 29. But we do have a couple of conrods. So we got one rusty old one, the correct part number and all on it. So that's a good thing. And this one here come from our mate Tommy Horwood at Rural Wrecking in Inverell. And look, that's the right part number. The bush looks pretty good in here. We'll see once we get there buggering around. But that's got that done. That's been an ongoing thing, just buggering around. We had these coming, and I didn't want to get anyone else chasing any more because these were coming, but then we had to test them, and these have been here for a little while actually. And we're talking to my mate John that owns the tractor. Where's this bolt? I'll just pick this bolt up. Talking to mate John that owns the tractor, we have a yarn every weekend, or every second weekend probably, and we ring up for a yarn for an hour or so. And we're talking about it, and I said, look, I've got those rods that you sent, but I haven't played with them yet. So this morning we actually got in and had a good look, and look, they're right. They're the right part numbers, they're the right size, they don't look bad. So now we'll start ordering parts from the States. We didn't want to do that. Fordson House in the USA, they have a good parts supply with all this stuff. So we didn't want to order conrods and things like that, heavy stuff. We've still got to order gasket sets and get them flown in, and that'll be dear enough. But and a big end bearing, big end bearing. I think this gudgeon looks okay, but if the gudgeon bushes aren't 100%, depends how much they are, but I can make them. And so we'll just see how we go, see what happens. This morning, now I've come to a standstill on the Kubota. I'm going to set the camera up this morning, and I've got an exhaust manifold, and I want to put the injector lines and all that on the 65, and I do have time now to do that. So I'm going to go over there. My little sandblaster I do the carbies in, the glove come off the other day, so now I've got to get a new glove because you try and clean stuff and the bloody, it ends up in your pocket and all the glass beads. So I've got to put a bit of time in today, and I do have another glove there for it somewhere. I've got to find it and put that on and get that all up and running again. And LSA Oils, they gave me another drum of oil the other day. We've got the Farm Oil 1540. Now that works great in the Fergies. And they also gave us 60 litres of degreaser for the parts washer. So I'll get round to servicing the parts washer as well, but we'll just see. See how all that goes. Yeah, so, but look, that's about what's been happening for the week. I haven't put the tools away that I got off old Ivor. They're still sitting here. I have ordered through Sparex the Massey 148, the linkage at the back. It lifts, but with a bit of load, it just doesn't hold the load properly. So, talking to Sparex last week, and we've ordered some of the linkages and the draft control springs and the big D linkages with the draft rod on them. We've ordered all that from Sparex. We've ordered what they have, and we'll get that there, and I'll put a little bit of time into the 148 just to see why it's not holding its load up. We have plenty of other parts here for it. We got exhaust and hydraulic pumps, and we got lights and all sorts of stuff here. It's just time poor. We haven't really got on track. Judy and I have a yarn, and we reckon since my sister's passing, which was 3 months ago, like the funeral was in early August, we just haven't been able to get back on track properly. We're sort of, I suppose it rattles you. Things change a bit, but yeah, with the focus and that, we've just lost our focus a little bit. Caught the flu, then caught COVID, then sister passed away and things like that. It's just been what a year. Young Freya being born and having heart troubles. She's got to be in Brisbane tomorrow for a test on the voice box and things like that. So it's just been a year, one thing after another. So I reckon 2023, I'm looking forward to it. It's got to be a cracker, hasn't it, eh? Couldn't be much bloody worse. Well, you say that, but it always could be. But anyway. But look, that's enough from me. I will go handheld, and I'll just show you a little bit of the Kubota and a little bit of what I've been doing on the boat trailer. We're putting an extra anchor on the boat trailer so we can drop a back anchor, then come into shore, then drop a front anchor, just to get things nice and lined up. So we're going to put a little bit into the boat and sorting that out. So next year, early next year, about March, we have one trip planned, and August, September with our friends, we're going up to the Cape. And whether we take the boat to the Cape or not, there's some beautiful bays there we're going to camp on, and Seisha and places like that. And it'll just be beautiful to have a boat, pop a boat in and just go cruising around. And we watch everyone on YouTube catching big barramundi and bloody mangrove jacks. And oh, the camera just shut down on me. It said, "You've been talking enough, shut up." So anyway, look, that's it for this week. I'll go handheld. I'll take you for a little walk around, show you what we're doing. What we're doing with the trailer, and where I mounted the winch. The front pole's got a 65mm by 85mm U-bolt, and I went to Roadtech, BCF, Super Cheap Auto and all them. Didn't have any, so I'm off to the trailer shop today, see if they have some. And all these boats are held together with a heap of U-bolts, and I'm actually going to go and buy a heap of nuts. And something you might find interesting, I don't know if you do or don't, but when I was working with John Deere, I was a warranty clerk, and I also did a bit of education, training staff and things like that. And anyway, I noticed on a lot of the older John Deere tractors, there was no spring washers. So, and everyone's saying, oh, you need a spring washer there and you need one here. And so we went and asked the question. So John Deere said that back when they had spring washers on things and they did warranty checks and things, a lot of warranty claims were from failures of a spring washer, as in the bolt had been undone, there hadn't been a new washer put on, just do it up, and with the flex in each way. So they said normally when you're talking a bolt up, putting a spring washer on a bolt isn't the way to go. it can bugger up. So all these U-bolts and all that I've got on my boat trailer, every bloody thing's got a spring washer on it, and they look like cheap shit. And so what we're going to do, I'm off to the bolt place when I go to town shortly, and we're going to get nuts, standard nuts, and big flat galvanised washers and nuts, and then we're going to double nut them. So we're going to tighten them down, tension them up properly with the shifter probably, and but I will probably Loctite the bottom nuts, and then we're going to buy nylon lock nuts, and we're going to double nut every U-bolt, because some of the roads we're going to go on are going to be rough. And even we're doing things down to the extent of, I've pulled up on the side of the road in the past, and I've helped people with axles on boat trailers and things, and the U-bolts break from the vibration, and there they got ratchet straps holding them in place and all that sort of thing. So we're even going to the extent of, when we put the new axle in, we're going to have spare U-bolts and fish plates just bolted to the axle, double nutted on, because some of the roads we're remote, you've got to look after yourself. So I'm putting a little bit of time into setting the boat up properly, as good as we can anyway, and we'll have spare U-bolts clamped to the chassis and spare U-bolts here and there, so if any break or we meet someone else with trouble, we'll be right. So look, all right, I will shut up. Have a good week. We'll catch you next week. Hopefully there'll be a 65 video coming out, and it's only going to be injector pipes and exhaust manifold at this stage. I just want to button all that up nicely if I can. So we'll catch you next week. Yeah, try and stay safe, and yeah, see you then. Well, here's our little Kubota, and you can see we've had all the starter off and done all the Welsh plugs all the way along with brass Welsh plugs, all Loctited in. We've got new water pump, new top and bottom thermostat housing. Down in here, there's all the steering pivot that we had out. And this here, now, you can see there's just a little bit of movement there, but without replacing the whole show, we're going to have to live with that. New rubber boot on here. This rod here was all bent up, so we put that in the press. That's been all straightened out. I haven't done the wheel alignment yet. It's interesting that this is just a solid rod, and the one on the other side is the one that you do the wheel alignment on, just on one side. So, no, it's interesting, I suppose. So now this is that international nonpareil that got dropped off last week for me to have a look at one day, but I said, look, don't you blokes be in a hurry, whatever you do. But they're a lovely engine, and we've got all the oil for the Kubota sitting here. So yeah, until we replace this filter on the tap there, well, we can't go forward with this job just yet. I don't want to drop the arse end oil out until I can run it. I don't want to drop the engine oil out until I can run it. I went to town and we got a new fan belt for it, so look, it's going to be reliable once we get going. We still have to buy a battery, that's no worries. Yeah, we've got a 205 litre of farm oil 1540. Oh, we'll just come around here, and that's the degreaser I use in the parts washer from LSA, and that lasts me well. Like once a year I replace that. And this oil here, the farm oil 1540, well, that stuff there, doesn't matter what tractor you got, that stuff's good gear. Now, that's dearer than buying back end oil, but it's a high, a very high additive package in there. So that gets put in just about everything on our place here, all the back ends and things like that. So, and we've got all the motorbikes washed up and ready to go. I've got a bloke coming to look at buying one or both this afternoon, and we have trainer wheels down there. Okay, and this mess here, that's the old winch I bought off Road Tech Marine. Biggest heap of shit. Like, it has cable, the cable rusted straight up. You can see the plastic all melted in there from that nut. Just a heap of shit. So it's gone. And we have the 3,000 pound, by the look of that. We have a 3,000 pound winch with Dyneema rope, so the rope can't go rusty. Where the rope comes through the fair lead there, I've actually got the shifters and put a nice smooth edge there, so if it drags across here it won't hurt. You can see the gap there, how much I've got to bring the boat forward, and they're the little remote controls for the winch. So I like that little hook. I can hook that onto my pocket, and I can't, so I don't drop it. And yeah, this yellow stuff there, that's Valvoline Tectile 506 anti-rust stuff. So we've put it under the post here and here. I need to double nut this winch onto the pole here. It's a bit of a funny setup. You could probably weld it up, but anyway, they make them in kit form. Yeah, the boat winch clamps on there. I may drill here and drop another U-bolt in there, just because of the rough terrain we're going on. And this ratchet strap there, just as a safety, it goes down to that link down there. And the little wheel there, that's just been a heap of shit, so we're going to upgrade that. I can't believe how dear they are, but anyway, we'll get there. And you can see all these U-bolts to hold things on. There's plenty of room for double nutting all of that. So we're going to double nut the whole lot, Loctite it on. We'll probably do the trailer. Now that wheel, I wish the hoist was working. I've been on to me Sparky, but I haven't heard back yet. Yeah, I don't know, the wheel looks a little bit fatter one side than the other, so I've got a suspicion that axle might have to have a little bend in it, but I'm not sure. But if we go heavier, well, it's fixed and we don't have to worry. And all these little bits under here, I have to lower that roller, so I've got to bring it right forward so the boat locates hard in here. This used to just be a round roller and the boat could come up against it and move around, so we've got rid of that and we've put this fella here on, and the boat can come in tight and it'll hold it nice and true here. So yeah, so the winch can hold it, then we have a safety chain that holds it under here, and then we have this other fella, the ratchet strap there. So that's what we're doing there. We're putting the new battery box in. The rope, your docking rope, that was getting old and buggered, so we've replaced that. And actually, see that oxidisation on the boat, like it always gets washed when it comes back, but it's starting to get oxidisation from age. And yeah, what do you reckon would clean that off? I don't want to use real acids really, but yeah, and look, it doesn't matter. I just imagine, I suppose we could always sand it back and wrap it, put a big mangrove jack up the side of it or something like that. That'd look flash. And we also, for the trips, we're also getting, for across the top here and right across the top, we're getting a big tarp made. Going to the upholstery, getting it custom made, so we'll have that made. I'm going to get a bag made to put over the winch to keep the weather out of that, and we're going to get another bag over the outboard. If I just go around the back here, it's got a 50 horse Yamaha 2-stroke, and yeah, we might get it's still in really nice nick. I might polish that and get a bag made for that as well, just for transport. We've got a little bar there. I don't know whether I should support that engine a bit better. It's one of those things, because it's a drive-on trailer, you don't have a bar across the back there, so anyway, I'll worry about that later. Okay, that's it.